All right, so we're at our first challenge here for our variables for clean code. Now, a couple things to note. You can see down below we have a function called getUsersFullName, and that takes in an array of strings with a first name followed by middle name and last name. And what we want to return from this function is the first name, the middle initial, and then the last name. That's what this does. How might we go and make this more readable? Now, that's all I'm going to say. I want you to see if you can figure out a couple things on your own how to make it more readable. But if you need some direction, there's a hints.md file here. I'm not going to click it because I want you to make that distinction yourself. That might give you some direction. But think about it, what we've done, and there's going to be some ways that we can make it more readable that we're not going to expressly talk about. And I want to see if you can come up with it. But if not, don't worry. We're going to do it in just a second. Were you able to do it? If not, no worries. Let's talk about some of the items that we can use here. Some of our best tools are simply to do things like array deconstruction. Now, you may have started by going and creating a first name is equal to usernames 0. And let's go ahead and actually do that. And then maybe we did a middle initial equal to this right here. Then we did a last name. This would have been great, and it is great, I should say, because you would have practiced something that we talked about of creating our descriptive variables, and then we paste them in here, obviously. This is definitely a much better solution than was there before. We know exactly what this is based off of the array values. Instead of just sort of throwing it in there, we can now see like, oh, cool, this is actually the first name and the middle initial and the last name being passed along. It's kind of hard to follow some of it, though, with this spacing. So we use some of the ES6 string interpolations with backticks here to actually paste it together so it looks a little bit more readable. We know exactly what's going on, and we don't have to jump these plus signs together and do all that craziness that you typically had to do in the past. And get rid of that. We made it just a little bit more readable using string interpolation and then some descriptive variable names. Now, at this point, this would be fine, but my personal preference would actually to be use some array deconstruction. And here we can do it like so, where on the, let's get rid of this 0. Let's take that first value out of usernames, call it first name, and then we'll have a middle name here. And then we'll have a last name, because that's the order that's going: 0 index, 1 index, 2 index. And then we can just go and create our middle initial from our middle name. Set it equal to middle name, the first character. With that, we have a couple more lines of code. That's fine. What we're really going for here is readability. And this is much more readable than what we started with. Still get my full name down below.